The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
Fellow citizens, following the sequence of events, Uganda seems to be at political crossroads.
I'm not a servant of anybody.
Madam, I know the law.
As such, Alternative Digital brings you the Interface Show with retired Colonel Dr. Kizza Besigye.
Let's keep on the same page on Alternative Digitalk,
As he gives you the alternatives on the transition question, rule of law, human rights and freedom, youth inclusion in governance, economic stagnation, as he confirms.
I'll be always here Saturday from 10 a.m. in the morning. Be there.
Don't miss the live discussion on the Alternative Uganda, Digitalk TV Facebook pages, and the Alternative Uganda YouTube channel.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.
We apologize for that breach, but as I was telling you, you're most welcome to this lovely show. This is the Alternative Digitalk. Today is a Tuesday, 23rd August. And as we promised last week, every other single day, every Tuesday, we come to you and bring to you different people to give their different views, tell you about different laws and how we are supposed to keep law and order in this nation. I am Kato Tumusiime hosting the show. And I have my co-host, Emereen. You can take this opportunity to say hello to our viewers and then we can continue the show.
Well, good morning, Uganda. I'm Emereen Katumba. I co-host the Take Hachi program. Katantutenyo mu Luzungu.
Yogera Oluganda ate tuneekwasa yogera Oluganda.
Tubeera wano buli Lwakubiri ssaawa 5 ez'okumakya nga tukulungamya ku mateeka. Program gy'oliko teeka ki ng'era twakusuubiza nti tuvangula ku mateeka tukuteeka spotlight mu tteeka eryo gwe lolowooza nti lyovvoola oba ly'obuusa amaaso. So today we're going to be discussing abortion as a human rights violation. Nti okujamu embuto kivvoola ddembe lya buntu oba kiwagira. So we have the council in the house at Alternative Digitalk, and she'll be introducing herself. So you're so most welcome.
Thank you.
You can use this opportunity to say to our viewers.
Yes, good morning. My name is Kirabo Keisha. I am a lawyer and I happen to be a pro-life activist too. I have founded my own organization, which also happens to be youth-led.
Okay.
It's called Maisha Mawili Initiative, and it's just a group of young people who have realized that abortion is indeed a human rights violation and have decided to do something about it to spread the message to other youth too.
You're most welcome to the show, Keisha. And please, would you use this opportunity to say and talk about your organization, Maisha Mawili? Sorry, is it Maisha Mawili? Maisha
Mawili.
Maisha Mawili. Can you tell the viewers out there about Maisha Mawili?
Okay, so Maisha Mawili was something that birthed was birthed from my passion for human rights.
Okay.
I always knew I had a passion for human rights, but I was not sure exactly what I wanted to do with this passion for human rights. And as a Christian, I decided to ask the Lord, I mean, what do you want me to do about this?
Okay.
And the issue of abortion is what came to me. It wasn't something that I was so interested in.
Did you have to include God at one point in this before you started?
Yes,
Uh-huh.
because I didn't want to just embark on a journey that was not God-led for me.
Okay.
I wanted to do exactly what my purpose is on this earth.
Okay.
And
So,
yes.
when did you start this initiative, this organization?
I started this around 2021. I just reached out to a few friends of mine that I knew had the same passion or understanding of these issues. And I told them, I want to start this. Are you coming along or are you out? And yeah, some of them said they were in. And we started this. We set up our social media platforms. Yeah, so at the moment we're doing more of social media advocacy and just letting people know that, hey, this is an issue. Can you actually see it and come alongside us to solve the problem?
So why is it that above all the things that are affecting human life, you thought of abortion? Why abortion anyway?
It's a good question. Because when you look at the different things the different human rights violations that are going on in this country, most of them have solutions, or they have people that are actually helping.
Okay.
When you look at the women empowerment is everywhere. You look at the children, there are so many organizations helping children. But when you look at abortions, there are few organizations that I was seeing actually trying to help the unborn child. Because when I was doing my research, I did a dissertation in my 4th year of campus on the right to life of the unborn child in Uganda. And in my research, I saw that in Uganda alone, the abortion rates were really, really high.
And no one really cared.
Exactly, no one cared. And I was just like, if this is a child that is dying, why isn't anyone talking about this? Why isn't anyone caring about this? So I decided that I will be a voice for the unborn child since they cannot speak for themselves.
Okay, that's so lovely and so interesting. But our viewers out there maybe would like to know, what's that abortion that we're talking about? Because my presumption is not everybody may understand what we are talking about at this time and abortion itself. So what constitutes abortion? What is it about? And we can start from there, the discussion.
Yes. So abortion is basically the termination of a pregnancy, or the terminating of the life that is inside the womb.
Okay.
When the sperm meets the egg and they fertilize, and that fertilized egg is removed from the womb intentionally, with the intention to kill that fertilized egg, then that is an abortion.
So there must be that intention of a person, because my view is somewhere different, and I feel at some point we should have an opportunity and we should agree. For example, I have a partner and accidentally or unintentionally she gets pregnant and we feel maybe we aren't ready to have this baby.
Well,
There's no intention of killing that baby, but we feel we are not ready to take up the pregnancy and maybe look after the child. So instead of having that child suffer, why can't we just terminate and deal away with this?
interestingly, many people have the same view as you do.
Okay.
And from my research, the majority, more like 90% of the abortions that happen are actually from people who have willingly indulged in sexual intercourse, knowing, we all learned this in primary, sex will most likely always lead to pregnancy. So I don't think someone can say that I've had sex, I've become pregnant, and now I don't want you consented to that pregnancy when you had the sex.
No, I think
And
these are
so-
two different things.
And so
Kanso.
there is this scenario where, you know, we all indulge in sexual activities. We adults, and we consenting adults, right? There is this scenario when I've had my sex, I have liked it, and the pregnancy comes along, and I'm not ready for it. And the person I've indulged with is not ready either. Why are we putting this life? Why are we even giving birth to this life to suffer? Tagana funa parental love. We were not ready. We were not ready. We just enjoyed our intercourse, and it happened that way. And really, we feel like, I'm not ready, really. I'm not ready to be a parent. And he's not ready either. Charlie Chalumo, it happened. People have one night stands and they happen to be pregnancies. Katinze nelipe kumusajja because I'm pregnant for him.
Yes.
Why can't I just let this life? Why can't I not even introduce this life to this love that won't be? You know? Never termination. At one point, I'm so sorry. I'm thinking, I'm not saying no. I stand for people that terminate pregnancies willingly or ngatewali wonsonga, but mutu for abana bebazala, and you're like, Jesus, why was this life brought to earth? Nga suffering eriawe, ekusiningisa, nga olaba it's unnecessary evil. So, Kanso, I wanted to throw my light about that.
Okay. So you see, and let me look for the right words to say.
Okay.
Because a child is going to suffer, or if a parent cannot take care of their child, that situation they're in, maybe they don't have money, could be anything. The parents maybe have chased them, or the parent has said, the woman's parents have said, we don't want you because you're pregnant, and you're thinking of the child, the suffering that this child may face. Now, I need you to know that the suffering that the child in the womb faces during an abortion is even worse than the suffering that they would ever face on this earth. Because when you look at the different abortion procedures, I think most times people see abortion as just, I don't know, whether the doctor does something and the baby just comes
Goes
out.
out.
Yeah.
But that is not what happens. There are different abortion procedures that are done. The most common is the abortion pill. That one is for the early stages of pregnancy.
Okay.
But what that abortion pill does, first of all, is to block the nutrient supply from the mother to the baby and starves that child to death. So one person is here saying, I am poor, my child will starve to death, so let me abort. The abortion pill is going to make that child starve to death, and that child will be expelled out of the body. The one for the second trimester of pregnancy is most commonly, I think it's the DNC abortion, and that one includes dismembering the child. They cut the child limb per limb, because now the child is growing bigger and you cannot just come out of the womb.
Yeah.
Now the ones that is late term is even worse, because now the child is really big. And you know, when a woman reaches her 9 months of pregnancy, there's all this inducing that has to be done, the cervix has to dilate, but now there is no time to wait for all that to happen. And it usually takes about 3 days, first of all, that type of abortion, and it includes poisoning. The doctor usually injects into the heart of the child a poisonous solution that poisons the child. Actually, when you see the babies that have been aborted using that type of procedure, they come out black because that poison, like as if burns them.
Okay.
So every time someone asks the question, it would be more humane for me to have the abortion than keep the child in a suffering situation. I'm like, I understand your heart, but you need to understand the procedure that this child is going to have to go through. It's not a humane solution, in my view.
Okay. So, Council, do we say that this is morally wrong, or we have some laws that actually prohibit abortion? Is it an issue of morality, or it's an issue of the law? And
Essentially, it's an issue of morality, but the law also prohibits it. As Uganda, our constitution is very clear and it recognizes the humanity of the unborn child. When you look at Article 22, clause 2 of the constitution, it is very clear that no one has the right to terminate the life of the unborn child. And even when you look at the Penal Code Act, it gives more scenarios where someone will be found guilty of killing an unborn child and will face imprisonment.
So that talked about council. Don't we have scenarios where this abortion can be taken to be legal and not illegal in the sense, and it cannot be punishable under the laws of Uganda?
Yes and no.
Yes, and we start with the yes,
I
and
start
then
with the yes.
we end with the no.
The yes is that, let me read that section
Okay.
the way it is, because it would be better
It
to
would be
understand
better, yeah, so that the viewers
you
out
read
there
the
can
section
understand
itself.
and know what we are talking about.
So it is section 224 of the Penal Code Act, and it's titled Surgical Operations.
Yes.
A person is not criminally responsible for performing in good faith and with reasonable care and skill a surgical operation upon any person for his or her benefit, or upon an unborn child for the preservation of the mother's life, if the performance of the operation is reasonable, having regard to the patient's state at that time and to all the circumstances of the case. So in that scenario, someone would say that that is the exception
Yeah,
to
the
abortion
abortion.
that the Constitution talks about, because the Constitution says except where the law allows.
Allows, yes.
And but when you look at the section very clearly, you see that it's talking about a certain surgical operation that may be done also on this unborn child, but it is very clear to say that it is done in good faith and with reasonable care and skill. So when you look at the different abortion procedures, would someone say that this has been done in good faith? Is the injecting of poison and the starvation of the child and the dismembering of a child something that a doctor can say, I've done in good faith? Has it been done with reasonable care and skill? No. But when you look at the situation of when a mother's life is in danger, like this section talks about,
Yeah.
doctors from decades and centuries ago till date have always done emergency procedures
Yeah.
to just remove that child. Usually it's an emergency C-section to remove the child out of the womb to help the mother live. Just unfortunately, sometimes the child has not reached that age of viability, so they may not survive outside the womb. But you see that in that situation, the doctor is not saying, we want a dead child. The doctor is saying, the mother's life is in danger.
The mother.
The child was also probably in danger. Let us see what we can do. And if any of them survive, then well and good. So this section is saying that if a doctor does something like that with the intention of helping a life not be killed, then that person cannot be held criminally responsible.
Okay, we have had scenarios, for example, in villages where the judges, the old women, try to come out and help young girls, maybe who got pregnancies, unwanted at the time, I should use the word. They help them, and they are not medical doctors at one point in time. So how is that considered? Is it illegal, and or is it even much more illegal than the other doctor who is even qualified? He knows the law, maybe he understands a few things, and he continues to carry out that abortion. How do we balance the two? The other one does much more illegal things than this one, who knows, or it's all illegal.
So let me see if I'm understanding your question well. Those judges,
yes, they help do the abortion, and maybe
with the help of our local
herbs and the rest. Because you may not judge them that much as these people maybe who are doctors who know what they are meant to do, what they are supposed to do, as the law suggests. But they also go ahead to do abortions.
Interestingly, there's a law for them too.
For those old
Yes, there's also a law.
old women
For
in the
them too.
villages that do the abortion.
Yes, Section 141 of the Penal Code Act and also Section 243 of the Penal Code Act. Section 141 is on anyone who attempts to procure an abortion.
Irrespective of where you fall.
Yes, irrespective. It just says any person.
Okay.
So whether you're a doctor, whether you're not a doctor, if you give a woman something with the intent her to kill that child or terminate that pregnancy, then you will be held criminally liable and imprisonment for 14 years. That's even just for an attempt.
Okay.
But the one who actually even goes ahead
and does
and it
the
is done.
abortion.
Actually, even in the other section, it says even if the woman turns out to not have been pregnant at all, still,
But there was that intention.
the
of
intention
carrying out
was
the
to
abortion.
kill a child, then you are criminally responsible.
Okay.
And then section 212 is the one that is clear that when a woman is about to be delivered of a child and someone prevents that child from being born, then that person will also be criminally liable.
Okay. As you have stated clearly the law, and I know the penal code has lasted for years and years, have we had any chances where these people who carry out abortion, or these who actually help women to carry out abortion, have they been brought to books of law? Have they even been prosecuted at one point?
Well, according to the annual police reports or the annual crime reports that Uganda Police releases yearly or annually, they provide for cases having been prosecuted, but most of these cases are under the magistrate's court. So unless you go to the magistrate's court itself and ask to look at the records, we know that the precedents or the decisions of the magistrate's courts are not readily available, like the internet or ULI. But the annual police report says that there are people who are being held criminally responsible.
And I'm very sure those people that are held criminally responsible are the people that have done abortions that have been very unsuccessful, so alarming, because there is this research I've made, like 250 illegal abortions are being performed in the country, Uganda, annually. Illegal abortions. And those are always secret abortions that don't surface to public. So the ones that police knows and court knows are those that have gone bad.
Exactly.
They have taken someone's life. A woman has died aborting. She has bled to death.
Yes.
Or whatever. But there are a lot of abortions. And if the law really prohibits this, I think the law needs to be emphasized somewhere, somehow. On every person, they know that kind of helps in one way or the other.
Yes.
Though, what I have to tell you, in normal life and in the life that we're living, abortion is at a very high rate.
True.
Go to campuses.
Yeah.
I'm not lying. Go to high schools.
True.
Seriously. Go to our society where women dwell. Actually, as we're speaking now, there are so many children that are being terminated.
True.
So I don't know how your foundation has come out to help or to sensitize people about it. Yeah.
True. Abortions are really on the rise, and indeed even in campus. There are many, even to date. There are many who are still carrying out these abortions, and like you said, because they don't end up being these serious cases where these women get issues or the child or something that shocks the community, then they're never ever heard of. But I just see it as a huge moral degradation that is in our society because no one is alert to the issue. And as an organization, what we are doing, it's more of still a startup. We're still growing and growing, but we are trying our best to show people to change their minds on the issue of abortion, because we realize that many youth today, and so many people even who are my age, still have this belief that oh, it's not even really a child in the womb. It is just over blood, over tissue. So we start from there to first show them that, first of all, this is a child in the womb. And then we try to give them more information on the dangers of abortion and why, and the different alternatives that can be given to abortion. If you don't want the child, there are people who will be ready to take care of this child and give them the life that you think you will not be able to do.
Okay, Council. Now, our laws in Uganda, they provide and they actually give us the rights. And one of them, presumably, is that a person who is 18 years and above, they have the right to make the decisions as they feel they are good and better for their lives. And among the decisions they make, we have, how they should handle their reproductive health. Isn't that part of the rights that this constitution and these other different laws provide to us as citizens?
I would strongly disagree.
And why would you disagree?
I
Because
would
it's among the
disagree.
rights. And I take the opportunity to use the right and take the decision that I feel it's better for me.
I would disagree because, remember, human rights are meant to be interdependent.
Yes.
The enjoyment of your right should not hinder me from enjoying my right. So me as a woman, while I have the right to make any decision concerning my life and my body, exercising that right should not hinder you from exercising your right. So by having an abortion, while I have my right to do whatever I want with my body, I don't have the right to use my body to take the life of another person. So while I can enjoy my right to life, I shouldn't hinder on your right to life. And the law has been everywhere, worldwide. The law legislates against or limits people's rights that they have to their bodies. I can use the example of murder in the Penal Code Act.
Yes.
While I have the right to do what I want, while I have the right maybe to come here with my panga and swing it everywhere, I don't have the right to come and chop you with that panga.
Okay.
And I could also say that you're limiting me enjoying the right to use my panga. But the law has to be, the rights have to be interdependent.
Okay. So you talked about the research you made.
Yes.
And maybe I would want our viewers out there to know, what are the causes that you found? Actually, what prompts these people in your research to carry out these abortions? What are the major causes?
The major causes that I've seen are poverty. In Uganda, it is no secret.
And especially now in this economy.
Exactly now.
It's even more
The abortion
at this
has
time.
lasted well back before the economy became before the economy became the economy. People are practicing.
But poverty has been there since, and so many people are facing poverty.
Yeah, people will say the bar of soap is now what, 7,000, 8,000.
Kati awuli atanazoza nappi za mwana.
So one was poverty, and
one was poverty. The other had to do with parents being so hard on their girl children and treating their pregnancies as a disease or something that is so bad, like
something unwanted.
Yes, that was one of the biggest things. The parents and the partners also, because the partners were only there to have a good time. They did not want to have a child, so the partner leaves them and they are now thinking, what am I going to do? Let me just abort. Then the other big issue was rape and defilement. Yeah. Those were the three main issues that I found that were causing people to choose abortion.
You talked about rape and defilement, and I'm asking myself, and maybe you can help us highlight and inform our viewers out there. If somebody gets pregnant, maybe, unfortunately, when they are raped or defiled, and now this is your daughter, maybe, sorry to use that example, this is your daughter and they are facing that problem and they get pregnant out of that, what would you advise them? Would you advise them to keep the pregnancy? Would you advise them to do the abortion? Especially, I will even refer to the period of COVID. when most Christian leaders, political leaders came out strongly and they were saying everybody who is pregnant or who has a child, they should not go back to school. And now this is a situation that you are facing as a person. You're looking at the education of your daughter. You're looking at them not going back to school. They got this pregnancy out of defilement or rape. What would you advise them and why would you actually take that decision?
Okay. So my response, my response is probably not the most accepted.
And I want us to go in realities. Yeah?
Yes.
Realities now. This is a matter.
Yeah, it's probably not the most accepted response.
Okay.
But while rape and defilement they are really sensitive issues, and you can really sympathize with a girl or a woman who has had to go through this.
Yeah.
I mean, some women are raped in the most heinous ways that I've ever seen. There are women who are gang raped, and it's just so terrible, I think, to even think of. But when it comes to saying that it is humane to that child, to have that child being aborted, we need to ask ourselves, the child who has been conceived in love and the child who has been conceived in rape, who is more human? Is one less a human being?
They're both human.
No, they are all human.
Yes.
But I gave you a scenario. Now you are the mother of this daughter.
Yes.
And you have to take the decision. And these schools are saying no. Girls with kids, girls who are pregnant, they will show a bad image to the rest of the people. They will be bad motivators, and we may end up spoiling the whole community of the school. Now we give you options. Either take your kid home or do abortion and the kid can come back to school.
No.
It's now
The
before you.
government also. All the schools that were saying those
Because this is something that happened. And actually we saw strong religious leaders coming out open and they are saying, don't bring any child who is pregnant
And that
in
was
this school.
very, very wrong.
Political leaders were saying, yes,
And there were
these
even,
are bad
yeah, and there were
girls
even,
and bad...
Sure, if I finish. There were even those pregnancies that were conceived by siblings.
Yes.
How would you deal
No,
with
this
such
is
a
before
scenario?
you.
Or fathers.
Ancestral pregnancies.
No, this is a scenario before you are a
Incestuous
mother
rape.
and
Through
Yes.
incest.
you have to take a decision.
Personally, I don't want to speak.
I told you we
much.
talk realities now.
Yes, talking realities. If you had asked me this question about 4 years ago,
Yeah.
my
Yes.
answer would be that would be my exception, that
They should terminate the
I should
child.
terminate.
But now,
But the more and more I get in, the more deep, the deeper I go into this abortion or anti-abortion work, the more I see stories of women today who are now anti-abortion activists, who are conceived in rape. I see stories of women who have been raped but chose to keep the child. Others kept the child, gave back the child, gave the child up for adoption, or others went ahead and raised this child on their own. So when I interface with those stories, these are real life stories of real people, it just makes me know that rape or a child conceived in rape is not going to be the end of the life of this girl. The best way that we can help this girl or this woman is give her the therapy that they need. First of all, put that rapist in prison, because it seems that every time a girl or a woman is raped, the thing that people think of is, that child needs to be aborted.
the child doesn't deserve,
Exactly.
it doesn't have a right to life.
That child did not do anything.
They
If
always
anything,
say, "Uyu mwana wa chibi."
You get that?
Uganda.
yes.
That's how they call them.
Yes,
Uyu
sure.
mwana wa chibi.
Uyu mwana wa chibi. Teri
Kumbe
agenda
this
mukuza.
child, Bambi, even that child, yes, angav. That child also didn't ask to be conceived. That child also just found themselves being conceived into this life, and their father happens to be a rapist. Instead of the very first thing that we should be doing when a woman or a girl is raped is saying, where is that man that was raped? who raped. Can't we find that person and put them into prison? Like you said, some are siblings, some are parents. Instead, that should be the first thing. Put this rapist behind bars and let's help this girl get the life and the care that they need. There's this one story I interfaced of a girl who she was raped when she was 13. And right now she's actually an anti-abortion activist and she tells the story herself willingly. And they made her abort the child, her parents. But she says that the pain that she had from having to abort her child was even worse than what she felt when she was being raped. Because she said that she felt the motherly bond already. She was like, well, this was also happened to be a rapist's child. This was her child too. And she did not want to have to kill her own child.
Yeah.
So we need to, that would be my response now to my own child, that let us love the child also.
I know, but Council, would you rather hold a child born by siblings in a family and that lineage or you know, or would you rather terminate the child? Because to be relevant, seriously, we all human beings, and abana batuusekisera we're not home. They're in their stages, and they happen to test one another. You get that? You know, they happen to use one another, over unknowingly, over out of peer group pressures and whatsoever. You know, when we're growing, a lot happens, and one conceives that's the girl child, and they tell you, oh no, this is my brother or my uncle or my relative. Would you rather keep the child within family? Don't you think the child is going to face too much rejection?
Yeah, definitely. That child depends also on the situation that is in the family. First of all, you already see it's a family issue. They could have done better to help these children and ensure that such a thing doesn't happen. And unfortunately in Uganda, for some reason, when such a thing happens, the blame is on the girl.
Oh yes.
Your father could not do that. Or your uncle could not do that. It was you. Go in HZIV.
You know.
So of course, that child, something needs to be done. Something needs to be done with the parents. If there are parents watching, something needs to be done.
And what is that needs to be done?
Sensitize your boy children also, because while maybe they could have consented, the siblings, to do more. If me as a parent have raised my boy child well, to know that first of all this is your sister. Also respect a woman.
We're not talking about the girl child.
And also the girl also. Yeah, both the children, because they are children. Children need to be guided in the way that they should go.
Okay.
So as a parent, you need to do everything that you can to ensure that your child is safe also. That is what I would say.
You talked about something, and I had to bring in this question to you. Maybe you can help our viewers out there to understand. Should we say that this issue of abortion includes godliness alone, or we look at the morality as it is? Is it actually some message that is preached out in our churches, and are we sensitizing the people that we take to be believers in churches? Because I feel that's where it should start from, even at the point before it goes to the families. We have that one uniting factor, the church, and that's the first community that we always meet different people. Is that message out there that people should know how dangerous it is, or how bad it is, or how ungodly it is?
Okay, those are like two questions in one.
Yes, and they can all be answered almost in the same way.
Well, as a Christian, of course, it's an issue also to do with religion and morality, but I have also interfaced with people that are anti-abortion but do not belong to any religion. They consider themselves atheists, and for them, their reason for being anti-abortion has nothing even to do with God, for them, they just see that this
Yes,
is
it's
alone is
fair.
just
Sin.
a human rights violation. Us, we may be looking at it as sin, but for them, they look at it as that. Then, to answer your other question, the church,
Is it involved in, creating this awareness and sensitization?
thank you for asking me that one, because personally, as a member of the church and a believer,
Yeah.
I feel like the church is doing so little to deal with this issue. The church, it seems, are waiting for the worst to happen. They are waiting for, I don't know, maybe the law to be changed and the law to allow abortion, so then they can now come out and sensitize people and be like, no, this is wrong, we cannot allow it. And yet the issue is actually here. We should not wait to solve the problem. Let us do preventive measures right now. So the church needs to do more. I think it's not enough for them to just say abortion is wrong, or don't abort, or abortion is a sin. We know that they can do more, actually starting programs to help girls and women who have faced with the decision of abortion, and letting them know that, okay, yes, you may have sinned, but we know that Jesus came to save the sinners, and
we are all sinners.
exactly, if you come and you repent, and we are here for you, we'll give you the resources that you need to take care of this child. We'll give you everything that you need to help the woman also feel loved and know that, okay, even when I make the decision to keep my child, there are people around me who love me and are not judging me and condemning me and looking at me as this big sinner.
And how about the schools? For example, secondary schools and universities and other tertiary institutions. Is that message there really?
I don't remember in my time being taught anything close to that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if my high school experience is also reflective of other people's.
Like so
Did they teach you people about sensitize about abortion?
Yes,
Hey,
in
that's
Yeah, I
theory.
did not see it
Yes, we
anywhere.
did divinity and theory, where abortion was considered to be a sin and condemned. Actually, this is when we knew about the doctor's ethics, when they have to terminate the child, when those emergency things. Maybe I did divinity alone in this house.
I actually did divinity,
Yes, seriously,
but I
it
don't
is
remember
there.
it.
Maybe you just nzenda bikanafangayo nnyo ku ebyo, but Div4 had it.
Ah,
Yeah, sure.
and I loved Div4.
Div4 and Div2. Yes, they had it.
Yes.
Yeah,
So I think the secondary schools also, just like the church, need to do more.
yeah,
Even
surely.
universities, because most of the
Yeah.
people get spoiled at the university level.
Especially.
Naye council,
University.
there is this burning question in me. Okimanyi mbuna eddagala lya abortion lye lisinga okubeera imported here. Mu ddagala lyonna lyetufuna. And mu pharmacies, gwe fulumako wano ogenda mu pharmacy obagambe mumpe emergency pill. It will be right at the desk.
True.
How is the law? How is the law working upon this? How are they minimizing the entrance or the importation of this drug into the country? Because we're fighting for the unborn child, and those that are terminated in other ways, those that are poisoned. Who brings in the poison? And how is it in the hospitals? And if it's the hospitals for emergency issues, why is it then that it's used for other unnecessary evils? The pill, the pill that is so stocked in pharmacies. Olowooza aba drug authority bakola omulimu gwabwe oba okiraba?
Yes.
So the question still esigale hanging. How is the law actually helping in minimizing abortion cases? Because some of them even take lives, like you've said. Both lives,
Both,
the mother and the unborn child.
I like that you mentioned it and you asked yourself, these drugs are everywhere. Where are they coming from? And that is something that is a big issue that we are facing in this anti-abortion fight of ours, because there are other forces also that come into play. There are these big organizations, mostly Western organizations, and
It actually advocates for
exactly,
abortion.
as we know, for them, most of them, their laws, they have changed them to allow abortions and all these things, and they feel like even us, we have to have those same laws.
Adopt and copy what they are doing.
It is not enough for it to be their law. They also want it to be our law and our practice. So I will not mention names for lack of concrete evidence. But from my small research, they are there. Even some of them admit it in their websites that they are importing these drugs. And like you said, the question is, where is National Drug Authority in all this? Where is the government in all this? There is a pro-life activist called Obianuju Ekiocha. She wrote a book called Target Africa, Neocolonialism in the 21st Century. And one of the biggest issues that she mentions is that Africa has an aid addiction. The white man says, we want this, but it has come with strings attached. The aid they are giving you to help the poverty, the women, the children has come with their strings attached. And what are those strings? Those things that you've mentioned. And so definitely the government has to do more, but as Africans, I don't know, our African leaders or our Ugandan leaders, they have issues with money. Once money is shoved in their faces, it is like sense is thrown out of the window, and they no longer care about Ugandans.
Yeah, surely.
And now some of the drugs now, like I think misoprostol, which is one of the abortion drugs that are used, is also a drug that is used medically in some situations. But now you see other people go ahead to misuse it and use it to terminate their children. And so I think more, I don't know, regulations, and also police maybe is also sleeping in their job and actually putting the law into force, because we have good laws, like I've read.
Yeah.
Our laws are really good. So if the police were always there to implement these laws, then I don't think we would be facing all of these issues. Who is also keeping National Drug Authority accountable?
So to take you back to your research, I believe at the end of your research, you made some recommendations.
Yes.
And I think this is an issue that we are facing as a country, because I remember in my study, I did 2 research dissertations. I know they are keeping them in there, I don't know, libraries or stores. Have you brought some of the recommendations maybe to the people in authority so that they can be, taken in, or you just also kept it home and decided to keep quiet?
No, actually.
And what are some of the recommendations that you made that can maybe help this?
Yes, we've tried in our different avenues to give the relevant authorities the recommendations that we have. I won't mention some of them because they're still ongoing.
But you can mention them to the people out there, so you never know who is watching here. You can send the message maybe to their leader and something can be done.
Yes, I think we have managed. Maisha Mawili is also part of an organization that's called Life and Family Foundation Uganda, which is also a pro-life organization dealing with life and family issues in Uganda. And with LIFAM, we have managed to attend different events with different parliamentarians and different ministries, like the Ministry of Gender, and we have laid out all these recommendations that need to be done. And also, I think I should mention that there is a treaty that Uganda signed that most people don't even have an idea about. It's called the Geneva Consensus Declaration. It was signed, I think, in 2020, and basically it says that there is no international right to abortion, and abortion is not something that Uganda stands for. And up to, as I speak, I think there are probably over 20 countries or more that have
The
signed,
signatories.
signatories to this declaration.
Okay.
And so some of the recommendations that I have, like I've mentioned already, police, please implement implement the laws. I remember off record I was talking to you about actually I didn't get to mention it, but there's a certain organization that works here in Uganda that works to push abortion, and they did a certain research paper on the implementation of these criminal abortion laws in Uganda. Well, for them, one of their findings, they saw them as something that supported their view, but me, I saw it as something supporting my view, because in their research they mentioned that, well, police has got maybe these doctors and they're performing abortions and whatnot. These doctors go ahead and pay police to let them out. And I was even shocked to see it being admitted in this research paper that this is happening. For them, they were seeing it as a good thing that even our people have to pay police to
so
let
that
them
they
go.
can deal
They were
with
seeing
it.
that this is wrong. Why are they bribing police to get away with killing children? So police needs to do better. The law needs to be, I think, strengthened. I like there's a certain statement in Kenya's constitution where it states that life starts at the moment of conception. If something like that can be made clear in our constitution too, then people would not look for other avenues and loopholes to say that, oh, maybe in this situation. So if it is clear that as a country we recognize as life starting at the moment of conception, then that is what should be done. And then my other recommendation was to the parents, the causes that I was talking about of abortion, parents, partners, friends who also advise their friends to go and get abortions, or pressure them. You know, sometimes it can be their friends. I think in campus,
The peers.
yeah,
Just
it may be your friends.
the
You get pregnant, they're like, but you girl, what will your parents say? Oh,
How will the village look at you?
will
You're
you
still young.
study?
You're still young.
Those
Stigma.
things.
Yeah.
Those are the things that are making women feel like abortion is the only option that they have. And yet there are other options. There are organizations everywhere in Uganda ready to help these women.
Okay.
Even me, I didn't know them, but I've come to learn that they are there.
So,
Okay.
Council,
Yes.
as we are presenting to the people as they are watching us, I know there is someone out there stranded with a pregnancy and they don't know where to go or what to do about it. Yet they don't want to abort their child. Is Maisha Mawili willing to help such a person? Or you can kindly, in the left minutes that we have, let a girl child that is there, a parent, a guardian, or a lady that has conceived a child, since you said we should put on this thing of life starts at conception. Yeah? Bayambe, bamanye, kanchogena mu Luganda, bamanye nti singa mba nfunye omwana ono out of wedlock in any way. And I know public will stigmatize the child. Where do I run to? Are you there to help? And the other organizations?
Yes.
So,
Thank you. Yes, as Maisha Mawili, we are more than ready to help. In fact, we are happy. That is our mission. On top of giving sensitization on abortion and why it's wrong, we're actually also here to help those women know that there are other options. We will help them, we'll provide the resources that they need, and where we can't, we're partnering with different organizations to help. There are different organizations, if maybe they're not comfortable to come to Maisha Mawili, there are organizations like the Remnant Generation, there are organizations like Wakisa Ministries. They are already there to help you and let you know that you're loved regardless of your pregnancy, even if you feel like you're not loved or you're the worst person on planet Earth. We are here, we're ready to help in any way that we can.
Wow.
Oh yes, I know we can't have more of this discussion because time is not on our side, but Council will give you 2 minutes to say your closing remarks and maybe give some advice to somebody out there watching us.
Thank you. I think my message will be to the youth, as a fellow youth. I know we hear all these things that it's your right as a woman, my body, my choice,
You know.
no uterus, no opinion, usually to the men. We hear all these things, but I would like you to consider also that the life of the child, while we also consider the life of the woman and the emotions of the woman, we must also consider the life of the child. Let us be able to love them both and help them both, and not help one at the expense of the other. Let us love them both, and also ask yourself exactly why is it that you are supporting abortion? What is your reason? You will find that most of your reasons are inconvenience. It will inconvenience you. It may be inconvenience your partner,
Maybe your family,
your family,
your friends.
your friends, but we should not make life and death decisions based on reasons of convenience.
Do you also, maybe finally, do you also fight for other human rights violations?
Oh yes,
So you're
we do.
only limited to pro-life?
Abortion is our main goal. Being anti-abortion is our main goal, but we're also alive to other human rights violations that are happening in the country, but we are mainly focused on the children too, not just the unborn children, but also the children that are here with us today.
Thank you so much for your time, and we can't take any more minute on this show, but we promise to be here next Tuesday at 11, bringing different lawyers, different advocates to talk about different issues that are affecting us in our daily lives. And I have been Kato Tumusiime hosting this show, Tekachi, at the Alternative Digitalk, streaming live at the Alternative Uganda. Later on, our show will be uploaded on our YouTube channel, the Alternative Uganda. You can always follow, like, share, comment, and invite others to also follow, like, and comment. If you have any issue that is disturbing you, you can always reach out to us on our different media platforms. We are on Twitter, Alternative Yuga. You can go to my Facebook, Twitter, Tumusiime Kato. That's my name, that's the one I use. You can always hit my inbox, and I will be available and ready to give any advice that I can be available with to help you in a situation. I had Emereen Katumba hosting the show, and Council Kirabo. Thank you for the show, and see you next Tuesday on the same show. But tomorrow we are having our normal programming, the Mighty Drive at 7 to 9. See you. Keep tuned to the Alternative Uganda.
The Alternative Digitalk. Real issues, real talk.